Hi there! Welcome to the Long Dark in my challenge mode, the nomadic play. I'm not doing a let's play today. We're actually going to be talking about inventory management because it is a very important thing in the Long Dark that I've noticed has really been neglected, or rather I see a lot of YouTubers who play the Long Dark just kind of go through the game and don't really explain the whole inventory system to people who are watching, or I thought that it was, something that, people would like to hear about, or people would like to know, or how to better their playthroughs with inventory management. So basically, we are standing in the Quonset garage, after I managed to get my character here, mini wolves, and I ran into a bear. That was fun. I don't like bears. Nobody likes bears in this game. So basically, we're going to be talking about a few different topics. First off is weight, and it is how it affects your character and how it's going to alter your play having an over-encumbered character. As you can see in the bottom right corner of my screen, I am encumbered right now a lot because I just scavenged this entire place. There are some things I didn't pick up that I don't currently need, like the flares, and those are really crappy sardines. So I didn't pick up everything, but I picked up the majority of the items in the Quonset garage because it is a very big loot stash, and also to top myself off with weight so you guys could understand what it really looks like to be encumbered. So the main effect of weight is movement. As you can tell, I can't really move very well. I cannot run if I hold down the sprint key. I can't move. It's really, really, really crappy. So how encumbered am I? I am at 115 pounds, 115 and a half pounds, and I'm only supposed to be able to carry 66. So my character is pretty darn encumbered, as you can tell. That being said, I've also just moved my base from Mystery Lake, all the way from Mystery Lake over to Coastal Highway. So everything had to come with me, which is why I have the issue I currently have of being horribly overweight. So what is the other main effects of weight? So let's come back out here and take a look at our stats. So your stats, which will be covered in another video, are basically how hungry you are, or how full you are, how thirsty or not thirsty, or how tired you are, your fatigue level, and your temperature. Your health or condition is over on the far left, and then of course up top right you have the daytime meter telling you what time of day it is. So basically when it comes to stats, as you can tell when I move, I'm losing the energy, I'm losing thirst, I'm losing hunger, I can't run, so the arrows won't go up at the moment. But the more encumbered you are, and when you're outside walking around in the snow and the weather, the faster you're going to lose fatigue and hunger and thirst. It puts weight on you, which makes it harder to move, which makes it more difficult. So it's going to affect your stats, and that's not something that you really want in the Long Dark, because you really want to keep up your stats as long as you can. So back to the inventory panel. Actually, I'm going to grab this and we're going to put it away. We don't need it right now. It was just to show you the movement. So, the second topic we're covering is understanding your inventory panel, now that we've covered weight and the effects it has on you. So the inventory panel is pretty simple. It just shows you, you can look at your whole backpack here, and it can show you every single thing that's in your backpack. You can sort it from A to Z, you can sort it by quality, I guess this is called quality, how good or bad an item is. It usually starts at the worst and goes up. And then by weight. I usually sort by weight, primarily by weight, since that is really what's going to help you figure out what are you carrying that's really encumbering you and keeping you from moving, and what you can drop right away to just help yourself. Second panel is the fire panel, fire starting. This will show you everything you have that will help you start a fire. Depending on your skill level, you may not need certain items like tinder plugs or birch bark or newsprint, because if you have a high enough fire starting skill, you don't need tinder. you don't need Tinder at all. It's optional. Some people still choose to keep it on them as a precaution because, you know, on like a certain time, like outside, say if it's a little more windy or a little bad weather, sometimes they'll want that reassurance of Tinder. I'm not sure game-wise if it actually helps. I don't know that statistic-wise in the game, but usually I keep Tinder on me. I don't think my skill's high enough yet in this playthrough of my Nomad challenge, whether it's high enough or not for me not to need Tinder, so I think I still need it. That's why I might have it. I haven't checked my skills yet this run, because I've mostly been trying to get to Coastal Highway, so I didn't have a chance to sit down and check my skills yet, but that'll be covered in another video as well. So the next panel is first aid. What do you have that can save your life, basically? Bandages, you know, stims, even painkillers and antibiotics, everything like that. This just gives you a quick view of what you have that's going to save your life when you need it. Next panel is the clothing panel, and this is going to show you everything you're wearing with a little tab right here. That'll show you what you're wearing, and then things you aren't wearing that don't have a tab. This can also be a lot easier of a panel to go through. You know, you have a clothing panel here. However, it's harder to go through and see the, you know, quality of an item, so sometimes I'll come over here and just quick check, you know, what are my items, how are they doing, do I need to spot repair something. So the clothing panel is really useful when it comes to quick repairs and checking to make sure that, you know, you have what you need. Next panel is food. I have a lot of food on me currently. I've been saving up food this run because it's a nomad play, which means I have to spend 3 days at each of, I believe it's like 15 areas, and, you know, I need a lot of food to keep me going because I have to stay at those areas for 3 days, and then I have to get to the areas, so it's moving all around the whole entire world map. It's not just one region, it's all of the regions pretty much. So I have a lot of food. That being said, I also have to keep track of the weight of that food because, as you can see, 25 pounds of food. Now that I've actually gotten to it, I hadn't had a reason to get to this yet, but now that we're to it, this little box here tells you how much weight on that panel you are carrying. So this is food and drink, period. You know, and in the clothing panel, I have 25 pounds of clothing. So next is equipment and tools. So what are you carrying that's making you, you know, really weighed down, that's helping you to do your job, which is survive, right? You're gonna need hatchets, you're gonna need knives, you're gonna need pry bars, you're gonna need hacksaws, yes, but there will be times when you don't, and that is what we're going to cover primarily today after we get through the inventory panel, is how can you make yourself unencumbered and keep yourself unencumbered for the majority of the time that you are playing Alone Dark. So the last panel is the materials panel, and this is like crafting materials, stuff like that, anything you'd need to make something else. You know, even your little mint beard and reishi mushrooms are going to be in here, feathers. Even sometimes things like reclaimed wood, because you can use it in crafting. This is materials you use in crafting primarily, so there's a bunch of stuff that you can use. And sometimes it's easier to find something in one panel versus the other. So versus, you know, your sticks and your reclaimed wood are going to be in your fire panel. It just depends on what panel you need and which one you're looking at. Sometimes it's easier to find something in another panel. So that's the basic inventory window and how everything is, you know, explained. How everything sits on the page. The other thing you need to know about the inventory panel is this is where you can come to access items to do things like cleaning your hunting rifle or repairing and refueling your storm lantern. You know, things like that. This is where your inventory panel is where you come for all of that kind of thing. You can also come to the inventory panel to harvest certain items like newsprint, newspaper rolls, things like that. The other way you can also do minor crafting is by pulling up the inventory window. There is not, I believe there isn't a hotkey yet for pulling up the crafting menu, unless I'm wrong, because C opens clothing. I know the J opens your journal. Let's see, yeah. So I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to check and make sure, but there might be a hotkey, or there might not be a hotkey for the crafting menu. Anyway, the crafting menu allows you to open up your blueprints and things you can make in the game. Things you can make with your hand are just like, you can make this on the go. You can just pull up the menu, make a torch, make fishing tackle. Tinder plugs, the reason there's more than one Tinder plug is they're made out of different items. This one's made out of newsprint, this one's made out of a stick, this one's made out of newsprint roll, and this one's made out of stacks of paper. So the next item that you can do for blueprints and crafting is at a work table. You have to have a work table in order to do these items. However, this will tell you what you need, and then you can go right back into your inventory and say, oh, materials, I have guts, I don't have a deer hide. You know, it'll tell you whether you have it or not by being red or white. However, sometimes if you don't have it on you, you can just, you know, look on the floor, make sure you have it or don't have it, things like that. And then lastly, you know, you have your blueprints for the forge. You have to be at a forge to craft these. The only two forges I'm aware of in the game are in Desolation Point and Pleasant Valley. No, I lied. Forlorn Muskeg. Forlorn Muskeg is the other one. I'm not sure if there's one in Pleasant Valley. There might be, but I don't know that for sure. So, inventory. Now that we have a basic understanding of the backpack and how the system for the backpack works, how can we make ourselves unencumbered? What's the easiest way to make ourselves unencumbered? Well, the quickest way that I found to unencumber myself is to find a nice spot on the floor that I like for the moment, because eventually I will go about organizing this stuff. But for now, the first thing I do is look at my food and go, what is the crappiest items? Okay, I leave them in my inventory, right? And then I just go, like that. And then you have a giant stack of food that kind of is a mess, but it's in one spot and it's out of the way. And then we pick another spot on the, oh hey look, more food that I missed. We'll put that in our little pile. These are really crappy sardines. I won't touch them, because they'll probably more than likely give you food poisoning. So, food is handled for the moment. You know, we have the crappiest items in our inventory. As long as it's not under 20%, I will still eat it, unless it's sardines. So, you can see that that got rid of 14 pounds of crap. That is 14 pounds of crap that you don't need on you at once, you know? We will go over that in a moment. So the next thing I like to do is go through my equipment and all of the stuff to check and see what can I put down. Usually it's material and equipment. So if I have any kind of hides or guts, I usually come over here and I go like this, and I drop them like that, and then I kind of loosely, you know, loosely organize them so that I can look at them later and go, oh, this is what I need, or, you know, oh, I have this real quick. But there is absolutely no reason for me to be carrying 4 cured guts plus 3 rabbit pelts. You know, I just don't need them on me at the moment. And my bear hide isn't even fully cured yet. So putting it down right away is one of the first things you want to do when you have uncured items. That is one of the first things you want to put down, is any uncured items along with your food. So once we have that done, we're going to come in here and go, okay, well, I only have 8 cured leather and 7 cloth. It's under 10, I'll leave it in my inventory for the moment. A maple sapling could go on the ground because it's cured. That's something to drop, even though it's already cured and realistically we don't need to drop it at the moment. It's out of my inventory, I can come back and grab it when I need it. And I don't need to be carrying it around everywhere. I simply don't. So next I look at what are things I don't need in my inventory at all. Scrap metal. I'm not using scrap metal. Scrap metal is really only used to repair things that are metal, like the lantern, or to make things at the forge. Since there is no forge here, I don't need it. So quickly what we're going to do is pull open a drawer in the work table, which is where I like to put my items for materials, and quickly drop this over here. Sorry about that, my phone went off. I don't know if you heard that, but that was my phone. Alright, so next what I like to look at is, okay, I only have 1 obsidian spear lichen, so let's just throw that in there. I only have 1 reishi mushroom. Throw it in there. I don't need it. You know, it's just for the moment until I get more, I can't make anything out of it, so there's no point in holding it on my person. So next, what are things I don't need? You know, I don't need this charcoal. Throw it in there. I don't need 2 of those arrow shafts because I know I have 1 arrowhead. I'll make an arrow. You know, I'll get that out of the way. I don't have a flare gun. I don't need a flare shell. I really only need 1 flare on me at any given time. I have 2 knives. I'll put the lower one away. I will make line out of that, so let's put, say, 3 of those away. You know, I don't need 3 rifle cleaning kits at all. Put 2 of them away. I don't need this many sewing kits at all. I simply don't. I only need about 2 on me. And since I have one that's 18%, I'll leave that one on me. You know, I don't need 2 whetstones on me at any given time. I realistically don't need 2 storm lanterns. I will break one down in a moment. My arrows, I don't have a bow yet, so I don't really need my arrows on me, right? So that's the gist for that. I will make this and this into a line. I will make this into an arrow with my feathers. I really only need 3. So let's transfer 7 because I only need 3 to make an arrow. So that got rid of another almost 10 pounds of crap that I didn't need in my inventory. So the next thing I like to do is come over here by, you know, the bed and see, okay, well there's a container here, so let's open this container up. So how about clothing? I'm not wearing that, I'm not wearing those, and I'm not wearing that. That got rid of another 5 pounds. Don't need those on me right now. I can come back, check them later, see if there's something I want to change out, switch up, look at it later. Don't need it right now. Alright, fire barrel. So what do we put next to the fire barrel? Wood. If I can find the right tab. So we go ahead and drop all of our burnables into one nice pretty pile, so they're out of the way. Then I'll go on to the other side, and usually I'll put like paper stacks here with tinder, and that's tinder pile. Look at that, we are now unencumbered, but I'm not even done. So we have our lovely stack of wood. I can just pick it up and grab it on the go, or use it for the fire when I need it. So next, now that I'm actually fully unencumbered and under my limit, I want to go through and check to make sure if there's anything else that is seriously encumbering me that I don't need to have, like this second lantern right here. So let's harvest that lantern, and this will give me some oil and scrap metal. So then we can come back out here and go back in our drawer, and then we can go ahead and throw that scrap metal back in there, and then we're gonna go in and find better tools. We have 2 lantern fuels, right? We can go ahead and drop 1, put it up here with our jerry can. Actually, we can probably honestly drop both of them for the moment because I don't really need them right now. We just grab them when we need them. So that's done. So then what else can I drop? Well, currently I don't need a pry bar on me because, actually I do because there's still a thing I need to check, so let's go do that real quick. There's actually another pry bar right over here, which I will grab and with my right click key, and then left click it over there. And then we'll go ahead and grab these simple tools, right click, and left click them there. And now I know that they're there, but I'm not going to use them right now. I didn't check behind the crates. There might be something stuck back there, but I really don't think there is. There usually isn't. That doesn't mean there won't be. So I will check them later. But I need to open both of these doors because I didn't have a pry bar until I found it. Work gloves, a coat, parka. Oh my goodness gracious, that is heavy stuff. Another lantern. Trail boots, fishing tackle. Okay. And there's something here, and a bedroll here.
I wonder if I can drop any of this gear.
There's Brent. Yes, you can drop any of that gear, because I'm going to drop most of pretty much everything you just picked up. So, now that we did that, let's go back into our container. Go back to clothing. Everything we're not wearing is going to get thrown in there. Yes, wearing all of that. Oh, wait, boots. Okay, not wearing that. That's everything we're wearing, everything we're not wearing. Alright. Come back over here to our little pile. And then we're gonna actually forget to drop birch bark like an idiot. And then drop that. And what else did we pick up? Oh, the other lantern. So that's a crappy lantern. Again, another crappy lantern. So, harvest it. Alright, nice. We're gonna come back over here. And we're gonna go ahead and throw that scrap metal in there. And then drop the lantern fuel we just got. Alright. And then since we have a shelf space here, we have 2 bedrolls. This bedroll honestly could be harvested. I don't need it. It's really, really terrible condition. Mine's better condition. I don't really need it. However, I'm going to drop it for the moment because you never know when you might need an extra bedroll. You just never know. So I'll leave it there for now. Oh look, another whetstone. Let's put that away where it belongs. Alright. Whetstone, throw it in there. Yes. Okay. So then what we can do, while we're sitting here and we have a work table, is we can go ahead and make an arrow. We need it. Alright. Alright. And that actually improved our archery skill. So our archery skill is going up because we now are learning how to make arrows. So the thing I'm going to come and do in here is grab this maple sapling. And I actually need 2 guts. Okay. Then we're going to come back while we have daylight real quick, and we're going to drink something. And then go ahead and eat something. And we're going to come back over here to the work table. We are going to make, we'll spend 1 hour with our hunting knife. We'll do that. Just an hour. And then it should be nighttime. Now, what that does is, for one, you know, you start your effort, right? You start your work. It should take it out of our, but it did not take it out of our inventory. Okay, I thought it did. For some reason I thought it used to. Anyway, we're still way under encumbered because we got everything out of our inventory. And now we've got this arrow that we can actually put in here. I have a bow. Where did that bow come from? Did I have that the whole time? Because I don't think I did. Well, still, point being, we have a sapling. We'll make it. We'll definitely make another bow. Alright, so we're unencumbered now, which is great. It's also nighttime, so let's go ahead and eat something and drink something. And this gets rid of all of our crappy stuff first. Then that we have it in our inventory, we're using it up. It's crappy. You don't want to keep this for too long because it's going to start going bad. We're going to sleep for 11 hours. Alright. Fully rested, and it's not even morning yet. So let's kill a little bit of time. The reason I'm doing it this way, which I normally wouldn't pass time this wastefully, is because I'm wanting to get you to understand that there's a cycle to this game. Okay, daytime. So now that you've seen, you know, how we can get ourselves unencumbered, that's fantastic. But that's only one part of the job. The other part of the job that you need to worry about is how to stay unencumbered. So one of the easiest way to stay unencumbered is to keep yourself hydrated. Keep your character hydrated. You don't necessarily need to keep them full. You know, there's a little hunger meter down at the bottom. You don't necessarily have to keep them full. Sometimes it just works out that way. Personally, I prefer to play through the day and let them get hungry and eat at night. That's just how I choose to play. There are benefits and deficits to that, which will be covered in the stats video, which I will be putting out soon. So, how do you stay unencumbered? Well, you need to understand what causes your weight. So, carrying a hacksaw and a pry bar at the same time isn't necessarily a smart idea. Sometimes you're gonna have to, because you need to. If you're going into places that you are well aware you will need both, then you should probably bring both. If you're going to a place like you're in Coastal Highway here, and you're just going to explore houses, you aren't necessarily going to come across much of anything that you require a hacksaw for. And a hacksaw is 2 pounds. You know? I didn't mean to pick that up. So, you know, that's 2 pounds of food you could be carrying instead. Or 2 pounds of cloth, or 2 pounds of materials, you know. It's more important to think about what you need when you're going somewhere. So when you have a base like this and you're fully set up, prepared to stay here for at least a few days, or stay here for at least a good section of the game, set everything up, put it out, organize it so you can see what you have and where you have it. You know, say, you know, put your crackers, you know, down on the bottom shelf so you can see them all, lay them all out, and you know, you're not thinking about it. You can just come here and go, okay, I got crackers. You know, put your cans up in the middle row so you can see what kind of food you have. Grab it, go. You know, that kind of thing. Some people prefer to carry all their food with them at once. I find this wasteful because realistically you're only going to go through a certain amount of calories per day. Your character goes through X amount of calories per day. How many of that is depends on the activities you are doing, how far you're traveling, whether you are sleeping or not while you're in that travel and exploration. It differentiates. It's different. It's not a standard, you know, well, you know, if you go over here and hit the F key, you can see your condition, right? You only hold about, I think it's 2,200 calories topped off. So that's your, like, full bar. When you have, you know, 2,200 calories, you're full. Your character is going to go through them quicker or faster depending on what you're doing, as I said. So you need to think about, when you go out in this game, what are you going to be doing? Are you going to be exploring? Are you going to be walking? Are you going to be, you know, taking with you items in order to sleep? Are you going to, you know, spend X amount of days away from your base? You need to think about that before you go over here and grab all of your food, because you really don't need all of it. So I'm in Coastal Highway, right? I need to spend 3 days in this challenge mode at the Quonset Garage, period. I just do. That's part of it. So I know that I can just leave all my crap laying on the ground or organized on shelves and it'll be fine. I won't need to touch it. However, in some playthroughs, pretty much any challenge mode playthrough, or not challenge mode, I'm sorry, in any survival mode, you're gonna be staying here for a long time. You're gonna be moving around back and forth, in and out of say the garage if this is where you're staying. Most people choose to stay in the garage in survival mode here in Coastal Highway because it's a very nice place. It has everything you need, and it's a big loot table. So, you know, you need to think about, alright, I'm gonna go out and say I'm gonna search all the houses around me. Well, you're right next to your house, your garage. You don't necessarily need to bring food with you. You know, you're probably going to find food in the houses. So it's more than likely smart to just take, say, 6 to 1,200 calories with you. You know? Oops, sorry, wrong button. I'd say that at any given time, carrying about 1,200 to 1,500 calories on you at once is pretty good, because that's really a baseline for the day. You know, that's about half of your fullness. You should be good. That depends on how you play. Some people play the game as if they're on interloper mode, as if they're on the super hard mode, and they only feed the character at night and they go through the whole day starving. Some people like to keep their character full all day. That will go through your food faster, a lot faster. So you also need to keep account of that. That we will go more into on stats management. It is part of inventory management because you need to make sure that you have enough food to get by however long you're going to play. In other words, if you're playing indefinitely in survival mode, you need to make sure you always have food. You need to make sure that you have food. In Coastal Highway, that's really not a problem as long as you can create line and tackle, and you can always get fish. And if your fishing skill is really high, you'll have a lower risk of, you know, breaking the lines, and so they'll be more usable for longer. So fish are a longer lasting source of food, realistically, in the game. Food like this that's scavenged is actually a short-term safety net because they expire. They go bad, and you can go through them pretty damn quickly. Things like deer meat and rabbit meat and wolf meat are indefinite as long as you have the ability to kill them. That's the but you have to have the ability to kill them. That being said, there are many ways to kill animals. I will probably, more than likely, cover that in another video on food and how to survive in the long dark longer. That rhymed. Alright, so the next thing we need to cover is, alright, where are you going? What are you taking with you in terms of tools? We kind of discussed the hacksaw and the pry bar a little bit, but what else? Like, if I'm going fishing, I know I need to carry at least 2 tackle with me, because I know there's a chance one of them could break. Just standard. There's a chance. Sometimes I'll carry 3, just to be safe. They only weigh 0.04 pounds, so that's really nothing. Don't worry about fishing tackle until you have about 10-50 of them in your inventory, and then you have a problem. But 3-4, you're fine. Tend to only carry 1 whetstone with me, and that's only if I'm going to be away from my base for more than a couple days, because, you know, it may only be 0.2 of a pound, but if you're carrying 4 of them, yeah, that's more than half a pound. It's expensive, weight-wise. I almost always have my bedroll on me when I'm inside and I'm not going anywhere for a good day or 2, and I know I'm going to be working. In other words, I'm going to be working at a work table. I'm going to be making boots. I'm going to be making a coat. I'm going to be making arrows or a bow. I just put this dang thing down because it's heavy. It's not worth it. You know, it's not worth having to carry well, shoot. Alright, we'll leave it in there for right now, I guess. Let's just put it up here. You know, it's not worth carrying it around and tiring myself out quickly with weight, whereas I could tire myself out with working instead. So when I'm inside and know I'm not going anywhere for a few days to work on stuff indoors, I just drop the bedroll because I don't need it. Always make sure if you go out that you have your bedroll. That is numero uno. Always make sure you have a bedroll, because you cannot sleep without a bed if you do not have a bedroll. Period. Unless you make a snow shelter. That is the exception. If you make a snow shelter, which requires 5 cloth and 15 sticks, then you can sleep in there. But you know, you also have to have the materials for that. So always remember to bring a bedroll. The other thing you need to think about is, you know, smaller stuff that weighs half a pound or a pound. I don't need this torch on me. I'm staying inside. I don't need this torch on me right now. I'm not going anywhere. You know, I'm not necessarily going anywhere in the near future that I need a torch. So I drop it. You know, I check, you know, is my rifle clean? Can I clean it? Is my hatchet in good condition? Is my knife in good condition? Sharpening them can loosen the weight. Better conditioned items weigh less. I can actually show you this bedroll, which is 82%, weighs 2.2 pounds. If I'm correct, this one should weigh more. Don't make a liar of me. No, I'm a liar. Alright, well, I know there are certain items in the game that, it's not all items, certain items in the game will weigh more when heavier. I'm sorry, that was redundant. They'll weigh more when they're lower condition. Anyway, it's not everything though. There are a select few items that are like that. So what else can I do to, you know, keep myself unencumbered for longer? Well, think about how often you're going to be starting a fire. I have 2 fire strikers that are at semi-decent condition. They've got at least 3 to 4 strikes in each left, which means I have about 8 fires right here, roughly. Maybe 6 to 8 fires right here, right? So why am I carrying this many matches? Like, I realistically don't need that many matches. I simply don't. You know, why would I bother wasting, you know, the weight, even though it's really not that much? It can add up. It really can add up. Why am I wasting the weight? So I'm down to now 50 pounds. I'm 15 pounds underweight. Eventually I will need to fill up with wood. That is something you need to consider. When you go out, do you think you're going to need a fire? In this game, you should almost always have firewood and the ability to make fire. That is one of the things that will save your life, is having the ability to make fire in the game. So that being said, you should keep count that you need at least 10 pounds, I'd say, of weight for wood. 5 at a lowest rate, you know? When you pick up 1 reclaimed wood, it's half a pound. So if you're carrying, 10 reclaimed wood on you, you're really encumbered. You're really, really encumbered. So you need to keep track of, weight management and making sure, okay, I've got enough space to carry X amount of wood. Alright, fine. And you have enough space to pick up a bunch of sticks as well. You always want to have sticks on you, because sticks will save your life. It used to be that sticks would be how you took, instead of a torch, you'd take a brand, and it'd be like a little stick on fire. They changed that in the game, so sticks were, the main thing that, the brand is how you fended off the wolves, kind of, if you didn't have a flare. So, sticks are lifesavers. Still are. So next you need to think about, what am I going to need on me for healing? First aid. Ooh, sorry. What is going to help you survive in the long dark? In my opinion, you should always have an emergency stim on you. You should have one. At least one. You really don't need more than one emergency stim because you're only going to use one at a time. The emergency stims are basically when you get down to, if your condition bar gets down to 20% or even lower, you use a stim on yourself. It gives you a burst of adrenaline and infinite sprint for about, 10-15 seconds, something like that? Maybe a little more, a little less. And then by the end, it gives you a small bit of condition back once the stim wears off. Stims are great. But, as it says, you'll collapse from exhaustion after they run out. So you really have to make sure that you're using the stim at the right time. So, they tend to stay on you for a long time. That's the point of that little speech. They tend to stay on in your inventory for a while. So you really should only carry one of them because that's 0.2 of a pound, You shouldn't have them add up for no reason because you're really not going to be using them that much. So, how many bandages should you carry? I tend to carry about a pound and a half. That's between 6 and 8. 5 and 8 bandages. Personally, that's my view. Some people would say, oh, I'll do 3 bandages and I'll be fine. Some people say, oh, I'll carry 2 bandages. Some people say I want 10 bandages. It really just depends on how you play and how often you get attacked by wolves or bears. It really just depends. Painkillers, realistically, you should have more than this on you. I keep getting sprains in this playthrough for some god-awful reason. So I'm down. I used to have 12, 15, something like that. I'm down a lot because for some reason I keep getting sprains, even though I'm really not doing any more exerting activities that would cause said sprains. I keep getting them. Anyway, and yes, there are ways to avoid that. I will probably do a condition recovery and condition explanation in another video. So, realistically, how many painkillers should you carry on you? I usually say about 12. 12 is a good number. You can carry less, and you'll be fine. You have to take 2 for any sprain or wolf bite. It takes 2. So you should have at least 6 on you at any given time. That gives you 3. Because sometimes you can actually have to take 4 or 6 painkillers because you have 2 wolf bites or a sprain and 2 wolf bites. So you should have at least 6 to 12 on you at any given time, in my opinion. So you have to make sure that you don't add up weight over here in your first aid because it can add up real quick. Alright, so I am going to do a video on clothing itself and weight management for clothing. However, I will go into it a little bit here and just kind of touch on, how do you manage your weight when it comes to clothing? Well, what are the kind of items you're looking at getting? Let's run over here real quick and look into our little clothing bin, and then we'll pull up this. So, you know, what kind of clothing are you looking at? What kind of clothing do you want to use in the game? There are various kinds of clothing. Personally, I prefer my main clothing to be the crafted items from the animals in the game. So, you know, the rabbit skin mittens, the deerskin boots, deerskin pants, and the wolfskin coat. I have not made a bearskin coat yet. My goal is to make one eventually in the game. I have not gotten there yet. However, they're heavy. They're really heavy. 8 pounds just for boots and coats. 2 pounds for the mittens, whereas these mittens are not even half a pound. You know, and this coat is 6 pounds, whereas this parka coat, which is a really good coat, is only 4.5 pounds. So, you need to think about what kind of clothing you're wearing and what you're going to do to reduce your weight and sacrifice because of the clothing you're wearing. So, if I come over here real quick and show you my clothing menu, a lot of people would probably laugh at this and be like, oh my god, you're not wearing enough clothing. Well, the reason that I'm sacrificing half my clothing is because I'm wearing really good gear. You know, the deerskin pants, the deerskin boots, they're really good gear. They're better than a lot of the boots or pants in the game that you can scavenge. Now, they're not better than the best. The best scavengeable gear is better than the best craftable gear in the game, from what I have learned, experienced, and been taught. So, you can find better gear than just the crafted items. I like playing with the crafted items because I think it looks really cool. That being said, because I choose to play that way, I sacrifice my inner clothing because I feel like it puts too much weight on me, and my sprint is already down to 70%. So, you need to think about what are you going to do to help keep your weight low in clothing and your encumbrance on your sprint and your whole, you know, inventory as a whole. You know, clothing is one of the bigger problems of the long dark weight control, is how much clothing you're wearing, because it can be a lot and it can encumber you a lot. So that's going to be a whole video on its own. So now that we have a little bit of touch on clothing, we'll go into back to a little bit on materials and tools, because I don't think I really covered a lot of that. When it comes to materials and tools, you should always keep them up to date and cleaned or sharpened. In the end, it will help, because if you're, you know, running around the game and, you know, all of a sudden your hatchet breaks, or all of a sudden your knife breaks, that's a defense that you don't have. An offense, you know, an offense and a defense that you don't have. It's the ability to cut down, harvest materials from the game. You can't, you know, chop up limbs. You can't chop up, bramble bushes. You can't cut down birch limbs or maple limbs, saplings, without a hatchet or a hacksaw. You can't, you know, cut up certain items in the game, like old bedrolls that are not, that are laying around in houses. You need a hunting knife to do that. You can't open up a can of food without a knife or a can opener. So if you don't have a can opener on, you're like, I don't actually have a can opener. I have not found a can opener this run, if you can believe that. I have not found a can opener in my nomadic run. So without a can opener, I need a knife. Otherwise I can't open a can and I can't eat it. So that cuts out half the food that I have in my inventory if I don't have one of those items. So that being said, you need to... Sorry about that. Apparently somebody's compensating outside with a motorcycle. You need to make sure that you have the space for these items, the weight for the items, and that you're keeping good track of their condition, which is used, or which is done through the inventory panel. So that is just a little more bit of a touch on equipment that I wanted to go over. So overall, you know, you want to keep a quick eye on what's your heaviest items. What do you not need to be carrying in this game? What do you not need right now? Personally, there's probably more that I'm going to drop, like all of this. here. And I can go like that. And like that. Because I don't need them on me right now. I'm not going anywhere. My character is staying in this, you know, this building for 3 days. Like, I don't need it on me. I just don't. I'll just scroll through. I can make these teas and I can put the teas down, or I can just drop this because it's only a tenth of a pound. I'll probably keep it on me, but if I drop it, you know, it's a tenth of a pound that I'm just not even having to consider because it's out of my inventory. It's gone. I don't need it. The other thing that I like to do when I'm in a base is to drop all my gear so that I can then break everything down in the base that I don't need or feel like I won't use as a shelf, you know, or a container or whatever it may be. You know, break down the stuff that I'm just not going to use or bother to even look at. You know, just go back in here, and you see how our weight just like jacked up just from 6 pounds. Freaking wood. Oh look, I missed a rifle cartridge. That is the other thing you need to be careful about in this game is searching, because you can miss a lot of stuff if you do not search well enough. Empty, empty, empty. Alright. So, for me in my playthrough through here, this is just, you know, this is how I personally play the long dark weight management when it comes to my playthroughs. This is just how I manage my weight. Keep a track on everything. Oh, one more thing I want to touch on. Water. Water will encumber you to hell and back. It will. I cannot stress this enough. Water will encumber you a lot. Personally, my characters usually go through about 0.4 to 0.6 water a day, depending on whether or not I'm drinking sodas or other items of food that can give you thirst reduction. So you should honestly keep an eye on that. I'm not saying you have to like check how much water they're drinking every single day, but give an estimated number of, okay, well, my character's going through about 0.4, 0.5 a day. So every morning in the game, wake up, make a fire, melt enough snow to make enough water, and then drink that water throughout the day. Or make a little bit less, keep yourself unencumbered, and then drink some sodas if you have sodas. The point of that is that, the point in saying that, is that you should not let yourself carry 2 gallons of water. You don't need 2 gallons of water. Not at once. You're not going to drink it all at once. You're just not. Your character can't drink that much water. You only have a certain amount that you know, fullness. So, it's a little bit easier to manage your weight when you keep your water weight down, because water is one of the quickest items in the game that will encumber you without even blinking your eyes. You can drop water. You can drop it into water bottles, and it will land on the floor in little water bottles. You can put them anywhere you want. So, excuse me. That is one thing you should definitely keep an eye on in the game. Sorry about that, my mouse just flicked out. Is your water weight and how much you're carrying at any given time. I tend to keep it under 2 pounds. 2.5 if I'm really, you know, stressing it. But personally, I like to keep it under 2 to 3 pounds, just as precaution, because it helps keep my weight down. And I'm well aware that I'm going to need to, you know, either drink soda if I have it, or make a fire and burn more and melt more snow. That's simply how it is, but I like to keep the water weight down personally. That's one of the easier ways to get yourself unencumbered. If you're encumbered and your character's thirsty, drink water. It'll help lower your weight. So, the last thing I will touch on is how this meter works up here. So this tells you how much weight you're carrying and how, you know, full your backpack is. It'll turn red when you're over encumbered, and these numbers will change colors. This will go red when you're over encumbered to your limit. This number turns red when you're tired. So see how my character is like half tired? My weight ability has gone down. And that will continue to go down based on how tired you are. So the more tired your character gets, the less you can carry without being encumbered. So that means normally when you're carrying a ton of food, let's say, you go in here, you come in, you pick up all this food, right? And you're like, alright, I'm moving my base, I gotta grab everything. You can carry about 95 pounds of stuff before it starts slowing you down. Before it starts physically affecting your movement. It's about 95 pounds, I believe. It might be a little more. I'm estimating. So let's just say 95 pounds, right? That's gonna change when you get more tired. When you get more tired and you can only carry 65 pounds, then you're gonna start feeling it at 90. Your character's gonna start moving slower. Let's see if I can actually get it to, Okay. So I'm carrying only 62 pounds of stuff, so that actually didn't even cover me. Thought I could get it to work, but I guess not. Point being, the less weight you're able to carry, the faster you're going to get encumbered. That's how it works. So you gotta keep an eye on, what it is that your character is carrying and how much weight you are personally able to carry at that given time. So that is gonna wrap it up for the inventory management in the Long Dark. That was a little under an hour, so it was pretty good. I thought it would actually be a lot longer because there's a lot to cover. But so look forward to different videos on stats management and clothing management and different things like that, and how to get work the game to your advantage to be able to survive longer in a Long Dark. Thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful day. I hope this helped, and I hope that it was just interesting to learn about. Thanks so much. Bye!